So, all right, well, guess what? Looks like our first guest is here. He's on the line, so let's get him on here onto the show. Let's welcome to the show. Let me see if I say this right because I pronounce names pretty badly. Let's welcome to the show from the band The Shape, Mr. Brian Almeida. Did I say that right?
You are one of very few people to say that right off the bat, my man. You got it.
How about that? Look at that. What's going on, man? I feel much better than dude.
I'm sorry?
Dude, so like fucking albums out there, it's kicking ass, like lighting up Billboard charts. How freaking stoked are you?
Very stoked, man. We had, I think it was 3 weeks total or something on Billboard that we came out of the gate with, which was awesome. It's our first charting entry after this is our fourth album since 2008 or 2009. So it's pretty awesome, and we're ultra proud of this particular record. We spent a lot of time on this one, about a year and change, getting everything right and just doing like festivals and shows here and there as opposed to going out on the road full length.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, going through stuff and on, and like you said, you guys have been around for like 10 years, and it seems like now with this album, like going through, I was listening to older stuff and all, and to the new stuff, and like your whole, like, not only just with the music, but the whole course of action for this album, it's like complete growth. It's like a whole new way of going things. I mean, the music just sounds more mature and grown. The whole method to your madness on the business part seems more, you know what I mean? Like it's a whole new outlook, it sounds like, for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's, with each album we set out to, we had certain things in mind of how we wanted it to sound more so than anything else. And this time around, we wanted it to be the most accessible thing that we could while also making it the heaviest and the most melodic thing we could. So over the course, of the past 10 years, we kind of honed in on, how to craft songs overall as best as possibly can. Maybe not having this spastic change over here, this crazy progressive section or suite here, making shorter songs, things like that, so that everybody can enjoy it, but not, taking away the identity of what we do as a whole. There's still all those kind of things in there, but they're just peppered in here and there, and it's quite a bit more refined.
Did you get like scared at all? Well, here you go. I'll compare it to like, because your older stuff is definitely heavier and all. So it's kind of like when Metallica made the Black Album. So this is kind of like your guys' Black Album, so to say. And a lot of them hardcore Metallica fans were getting pissed at Metallica, saying, "Oh, they wussed out and all." So did you think to yourself, like, the Shape fans who are used to us being heavier and not as melodic are going to be like pissed off or turned off?
On one hand, I wouldn't say I was afraid, or any of us were afraid, because we just kind of do what we do. But it definitely was in my head that this was our Black Album, as you called it. That's funny that you mentioned that, because it's like exactly how I think about it. But, because our first record was a very spacey kind of big stoner record. Our second was a large, super death metal-y progressive metal album, like a death metal Dream Theater. Our last one was quite a bit more streamlined, more like European metal bands like Soilwork and In Flames. But for this, we really wanted to take the melodic stuff we did throughout and the hooky, catchy stuff and meld it with the super heavy stuff that we do. But also go in and do a few different things. Like there's a song on the record called Anathema that's very poppy, and you would not hear that kind of I wouldn't call it like a Nothing Else Matters or something like that, but it's definitely, got very light singing. There's no harsh vocals. There's not a lot of distorted guitar at all. And, things like that, and having acoustic tracks and just the amount of melody and catchiness on there and concise sections. We definitely knew that we were pushing towards something more like that. Yeah.
Now, how about that? Like, I mean, you're the singer, and with the vocals. It's amazing because the thing that amazes me with like a guy like you, like you can be one of them growlers or them screamers, but then you can sing your fucking balls off too, man. Like, and that always impresses me. Like guys like you, like you got a voice. You can sing. You can truly sing. And then when a lot of times people wouldn't know it or expect it because they're hearing a lot more of the growl and scream.
Yeah, and I honestly, I'll tell you this flat out. It is way harder to sing well and in different keys on point without help in the studio than it ever could be growling. Not to take away from people who do that very, very well. It's something that I started doing it because at first I wasn't as comfortable with my singing voice, and over 10, 12, 15 years of singing, I just got it to the point where I've gotten it at, and it's hard. And I think part of the evolution of our music also happens to deal with the fact that I've been stretching my voice a lot, and I also write, the majority of the songs with our drummer Pete. So, having to write the melodies, I've gotten or grown to get quite a bit more adventurous with the types of melodies we do and keys we play in and all that because I'm more comfortable, reaching for those notes and those things.
Nice. Now, the name, the shape, like, where did that come from?
Well, we are big horror movie fans, and man, I usually don't like to give it away, but I'll give it away. But in the original Halloween movie, Michael Myers is credited as the Shape, and Dr. Loomis calls him a big killing machine, a soulless killing machine, or something to that effect. And when we were thinking of a band name, the co-founder of the band, Chris Carlino, and I were going through riffs and lyrics we had, and we're like, what does it sound like? What's right? And he said it sounds like a killing machine, and that quote and the visual just kind of popped in my head. I said the Shape, and we were looking for something kind of simple and classic. A lot of metal bands, or even just bands in general, will have 3, 4, 5 words in their title. Bring me the horizon, bury your dead, between the buried and me, blah, blah, blah. We wanted something that was unique, but not so out of field that you're not going to remember it or that it's hard to remember. We wanted a classic sounding name, essentially, and they just kind of fit together.
Now, how about the one thing, I keep saying, on your guys' Facebook, too, which I'm guessing this ties into that. You call the fans the children of the knife?
I do indeed.
So that all ties in, I'm guessing, then, right?
Absolutely. We're huge horror fans, and loosely, lyrically, mostly from our second record, which is entirely about different horror films, either in tribute to them or in, extensions or reactions to the stories of those films. It's a tip of the hat to that, for sure.
Which then I guess leads into off of this album, the new album, which is called The World Away. The first video you guys did, Devil in Your Eyes, which it's got that horror movie feel to the video too.
For sure. That was absolutely intentional. I think we pitched a few different ideas. Originally, we wanted it to be a kind of like a Children of the Corn thing, where, or like a riff on that, where originally children were coming home around Halloween time. We ended up moving the release of the album up, so instead of coming out on Halloween, it was going to come out a little before, but they were going to be coming home around sunset after school, going through a cornfield, and they were going to get stalked into the middle of a circle where we would be playing, and it was kind of like a tip to that. But it was just such a complicated setup, and finding the right place is really difficult where we're at here in Connecticut. So the second pitch was kind of a nod to Thriller in the beginning and the end, mixed with the Evil Dead, which is one of our favorite horror films for sure. with the air evil coming at people.
It's funny because I was going just between watching the videos and listening to the tunes over and over. I can't get that girl's voice out of my head screaming for Jerry in the beginning of that video.
She was awesome, man. We put her and that dude through hell. Like, it was rough because the first part of the shoot was us doing our performance parts. So, we're starting, at like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, getting everything all set up. Took us maybe an hour and a half, and we thought it was hard because the song is a rough song. It's one of the it's in the beginning because it's one of the more technical songs that kind of bridges from our previous record into the new stuff. But we were done and we were sweating and soaked and bloody and gross. But she had to run up and down all these mountains and through these trees and get all this blood on her, these weird fingernails and all kinds of crazy stuff. And both she and Jerry were very, very cool. They're actually married. They're a married couple that are. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Really cool.
That is funny. That's good stuff, man. So now the album, like I said, is called The World Away. So what's any little meaning behind that? Is there a horror meaning to that or something else?
There's definitely a hard meaning to that. Essentially, with lyrics, I kind of write, or I have a tendency to write in layers where it means something to me, but it's open enough to interpretation where it's not like I, me, you, my, this, that, you did this, so that the listener can relate to it. And title-wise, I wanted to reflect that with the lyrics to that particular song. It's funny because that song, the title track, World Away, was the second to last thing we did for the record. It was written in the studio literally after I finished guitar tracks on everything. And I was like, well, I did have this one other thing, and we did it in about 15 minutes, and the lyrics came out. Essentially, it's about getting pushed or pushing people to the point, people you love and respect, having disagreements and arguments to the point where you feel just so estranged from each other, and it almost feels like you're on opposite sides of the world, yet you might live together in the same house. So we thought that was a pretty, poignant theme to have that carries throughout the record because all the other songs are basically semi-offshoots about that. Like The Bargain is about prescription drug abuse or drug abuse in general. There's songs about isolation and depression from both points of view of, a couple, family, all these different kinds of things, betrayal, all over the record. And it really examines relationships of all different types and how, you can end up feeling like you're a world away from one another. So we thought it was a perfect title for it.
Nice. And actually, like the video for that tune, that's like a deep video. Like you really went into like some deep stuff on there, like with the whole drug abuse thing and stuff like that.
Well, yeah. Everything, put it this way, everything you've seen in the video is stuff that hits close to home, not necessarily for all of us, but at least for people we know. And we wanted it to be, we wanted it to feel real. That the lady in the video, she's listening right now, hi hon, is my girlfriend. The girl in the video is my actual real life girlfriend. And that is my house that we're shooting that everything got shot in the room. We shot sections of the song that were playing the song, but they didn't make it into the video. And, those shots, maybe we'll use them for something, but that's where we actually play. That's our studio that we play in. So all these things, the outside shot with the dealer or whatever in the black and white, that's the side of my house in suburban Connecticut. So, we really wanted it to be super personal and feel very real. So that's why we didn't get actors to do it. We wanted to do it ourselves.
Now, how was that? I mean, you always hear like, I mean, there's the scene with you and your girlfriend then in bed with the nice little kiss and all, and then you're waking up and then it's just a pillow. But is it one of them things like we're like, yeah, it's like all these people staring at me with a camera?
It was not so bad because for that, I think it was a little weirder because it was just the director and assistant and us two in my room at the time. Everybody else was in the house. If it was more like in other areas getting ready for their stuff or mixing together props and doing all that kinds of stuff. But I mean, it was a little awkward because it's like, all right, you have to look up. And now you have to look like you're really sad, and I'm just like, my girlfriend's off to the side. I'm like, laughing to myself. I'm like, all right, well, that could be a face to not be cheesy. But I just, you kind of think of something, and you get into something that hits you. Like, my father passed away, so that's pretty much what I was thinking about when we shot that. So that I could keep like a straight face. But yeah, it was strange, but I think the end result was cool. At first I was wondering, I was like, oh man, I don't know if it's gonna come out all that great. And then I saw it once it was finally edited, and I really, really dug it. Our bass player Dan, the guy with the phone that's in the poker table with the wedding ring, he at first was like, oh man, I hate it, but I think he's coming around on it now.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I kept cracking up though. The guy with the drugs. Every time he would get the call from the pusher, and his phone lit up. I thought that was hysterical.
Well, he actually came up with that. Like I think the best acting in the video is him. And he was like, I don't want to do the acting. I don't want to blah blah blah. And then by the time it was over, he's like, oh man, that was really fun. And we saw it back. I'm like, dude, you were great. But the pusher thing, I was the one that called his phone, and the director Edwin was saying like, well, what should we call it? I was like, I don't know, call it Pusher Man, call it I don't know, call it Hookup, call it something. He's like, how about just Pusher? I was like, I don't know, man. Dude, obvious to come out. He's like, nah, man, Pusher, it's what it is. I'm like, all right, dude. That was cracking. But yeah, no, that's something that definitely cracks me when I see that.
Oh, that's funny. I'll tell you what, though, like,
it had to be something where you got the point, but maybe not that bluntly. But
dude, the scene though, like going back to your scene, like as you're sitting on the end of the bed, I mean, I'm like, honest to God, like I'm sitting, I'm like, I wonder what he's thinking. Like you look like you're really like in deep thought, and they're like really sad. I was like, wow, man, that fucking dude's like really got a lot on his mind right now.
Honestly, I'm a huge movie fan, not just horror, but all kinds of movies. So I knew, don't fuck this up. That's excuse me. That was one thing in my head at the time. But then, I was trying to think of stuff that was not so great that I could kind of focus on to get my head back there, and it worked. It was that stuff was real quick. That was done in like 5-10 minutes.
Nice. So I mean, it sounds like you guys like really have like a lot of fun with the whole video thing. I mean, is there any more videos you got planned for anything else on the album, or?
Yeah, definitely. The way we kind of do stuff, at least right now, you had mentioned, the way business-wise doing stuff. We're trying to push a rock and a metal video from the record, or what we feel like is a rock-oriented and a metal-oriented video at a time. So I think Devil came out in July, and World Away was early August. And those are currently on rock and metal radio right now, on Radio Contraband and Metal Contraband. I think our next two are going to be, we're gearing up to shoot one for Decimation sometime in the next month and a half or so, sometime before late November. And for rock radio, our next single is going to be Where the Sun Sleeps, which is kind of more of, not necessarily a ballad, but kind of like if Soundgarden, a heavier version of Soundgarden did a ballad, which is like the best way I could describe it.
Cool. Now, how about you mentioned earlier, like you say, like you guys weren't going to do like just hop in a van and start touring around this time around. So, what were the plans for show wise?
Well, actually, we didn't do that while we were, we took our time here that we crafted the best record possible. Worked with Charlie Belmore and Nick Belmore from Toxic Holocaust, Kingdom of Sorrow. They play in Josta, Jamie Josta from Hatebreed's side band, and Charlie's actually a manager with Corey Nash at DME Management. But we are going to hit the road with our fellow DME band, Final Drive, for an awesome band, at the end of November throughout December. So up until a little bit before Christmas. So we actually are going to hit the road, fingers crossed nobody blows up, but we're hitting the road in about a month and a half, almost. Whoa. Around then.
Now, how about because we're not that far away. We're down here in Philly. You guys hitting Philly at all, or have you been to Philly yet? Or
actually, Philly's one of the first places we're going to be hitting, brother.
How about that?
Yeah, dates aren't up yet, but they will be shortly for sure. And I do know that Philly is sometime at the end of November, beginning of December.
Oh, cool, very cool. Well, we'll have to keep in touch, and I'll have to come out.
Yeah, we've toured around up and down the East Coast before. We played Philly a bunch of times. I think the only place we haven't hit around there that we've been wanting to in PA is Pittsburgh. So I think we're actually also in Pittsburgh on this run, and then hopefully again sometime early next year.
Nice. Very, very cool. So now, where can everybody go? Let's get them plugs out there. Where can everybody go and become a Children of the Knife and follow you guys and learn all about you guys and get the music and buy the music?
Absolutely. Line these pockets. Yeah, you can find it. It's in 200. I think it's like 250 retailers around the world. We're seeing plays in like Australia, Africa, all over the place, streaming and stuff. So you can get it on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Beats, RDO, Deezer. You can order physical copies through Amazon, select retailers around. You get it directly through us on our site or our Facebook or our Bandcamp. You can get it anywhere. Go to facebook.com/theshaperocks. The Shape Rocks, or theshaperocks.bandcamp.com, or look it up The World Away on any of those online platforms. We're also on Pandora, so you can catch us there, Spotify, etc.
They're everywhere. And go on YouTube and check out their videos because they're fucking awesome as well.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm going to play The World Away because I really fell in love with this tune as I was listening to it over and over and over and over and over and over today as I was getting ready for the interview. So, all right, dude, thank you for calling in. Lots of luck. I just actually sent you a friend request on Facebook. So, when you get down here to Philly, let's do some cheesesteaks and stuff.
Let's do it, dude.
Absolutely. Dude, it was great talking to you. And, keep in touch and best of luck. And let's not make the world go away, but let's make them come forward and love you guys.
It's all about bringing them together, brother.
That's it. Cool. Brian, thank you so much, man. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, man.
Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye. All right, here we go. Let's do this. The Shape, The World Away.